Gen Z is facing a job market double whammy. The share of unemployed Americans are entering the workforce for the first time. Oh my God. Look at that. Whammy. Good. Gen Z. Wham 'em. 34% of unemployed Americans in July were new labor force entrants, those looking for jobs with no prior work experience, including new high school and college grads. It's the highest number since 1988, as the baby boomer generation was flooding the job market. The big picture, folks with jobs are hanging on to them at the moment. Unemployment is at a relatively low 4.2%, but those without work are having a hard time, facing one of the toughest job markets in years. Don't worry. The Trump economy is about to turn it all around, okay?
Welcome back. As always,
you guys will be working in the coal mine soon, I guess.
Getting rid of solar farms. I want you to get rid of wind. Brooke, welcome back. As always, you're getting rid of solar farms. I want you to get rid of windmills, too. Don't forget windmills. I know it's not exact. Here's Trump. Stupid and ugly windmills are killing New Jersey. Energy prices up 28% this year, and not enough electricity to take care of the state. Stop the windmills. So we got we got solar farms, wind farms, and windmills. And by the way, I want you to get rid of the Chinese communists who are buying our farmland. I'm just throwing this all into one pot.
Just a small couple things to do, Larry. So great to be with you. Listen, I remember as a kid, we spent our summers in Minnesota on our row crop farm up there, and we would fly into St. Paul, drive an hour north through the most beautiful country you've ever seen in the whole America. And back then, it was cornfield after cornfield after et cetera, soy. Now you drive that same drive, and it's all solar panels, solar panels, solar panels, solar panels. What has happened, especially under the...
What the fuck? Are we starving to death in America now? That's our issue? We don't make enough food? We need more corn?
The Biden administration and the...
Okay. HUD is English only. Before? After? Congratulations, I guess?
All right, breaking news tonight. The Trump administration continuing to root out the deep state. Earlier today, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard stripped 37 security clearances over a Barack Obama-ordered intelligence report of Russian interference in the 2016 election, which launched Russia Gate. She announced the move on X.
Why do they all say it this way? Oh my God, it's so cringe. Russia Gate. Russia Gate.
Part that the 37 who had their clearances revoked, quote, abused the public trust by politicizing, manipulating intelligence, leaking classified intelligence without authorization, and or committing intentional, egregious violations of tradecraft standards. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard is here with us with more. This kind of
the evil one
fits in with your original declassification. And that was what you discovered was there was an original senior career intelligence assessment about possible Russian interference in 2016. And they said there was no interference. And correct me if I'm wrong. And then Obama himself reordered another assessment with top intel officials rather than listen to rank and file senior analysts that are career analysts.
So there's a slight difference here in what you're saying, Sean. First of all, thank you for having me on. It's great to see you. The intelligence community assessed in the months leading up to that November 2016 election that, yes, Russia was trying to interfere in our election by sowing discord and chaos, but stating over and over again that Russia did not appear to have any preference for one candidate over the other. They viewed both as equally bad for Russia's interest. The big shift that happened around what is now commonly known as Russiagate was after the election. In early December, President Obama called a meeting of his National Security Council leadership. From that meeting, there was directive that was delivered from President Obama to then Obama's DNI, James Clapper, to then CIA Director John Brennan, to come up with a new intelligence community assessment that contradicted the ones that had been produced previously by the intelligence community. This new one said that Russia, Putin, did try to interfere in the election because he wanted Trump to win. They did this using shoddy intelligence, little pieces of intelligence gathered from places that intelligence professionals refused to reference previously because they knew it was substandard and did not meet the quality and the credibility that is expected of them as intelligence professionals. And they used the Steele dossier, knowing John Brennan knew, James Clapper knew, others within the intelligence community knew that the Steele dossier was a political manufactured document intended.
What is the obsession with the Steele dossier? I don't think the Obama admin or our intelligence community published stuff saying the Steele dossier was real. It had to do with the DNI hacks or the DNC hacks. I don't know who's hacking her brain.
To be weaponized against then candidate Donald Trump. Well, Donald Trump won the election. The American people voted for Donald Trump in
Like, when did the BuzzFeed publishes Steele dossier? When was this published? January 10th, 2017. So this is published after the election. By the way, multiple mainstream media outlets had this dossier, but they didn't want to publish it because they didn't think it was credible enough to publish it. So I don't know. That doesn't explain why didn't all the mainstream media also jump on this and publish it when they all had it before BuzzFeed did. BuzzFeed was the first company to publish it.
2016. So these intelligence leaders, and John Brennan and James Clapper and James Comey, then director of the FBI, then used the Steele dossier as a source for this Obama-directed new intelligence assessment, again, stating and alleging that Putin, Russia, tried to help Trump win the election.
You know what's funny is I think Fox News at this point has probably given more airtime to this new Russia hoax, because that's what this is, than they did to the outcome of like all the Epstein shit.
Clearly showing a preference for Donald Trump. Now, if you go to odni.gov, people who say, well, Tulsi, this is just your view or your interpretation. No, it's all in hundreds of pages of documents that I've declassified and released that show point by point exactly what happened through this timeline that showed this very dangerous thing that occurred in the creation of Russiagate, the creation of this manufactured intelligence assessment that essentially had the intent of undermining.
What's up with the movie set lighting? The rim light is way too intense, I think. Somebody in YouTube chat said, am I stupid for thinking an import tariff on food makes sense, considering you probably don't want your country's food supply dependent on another's? Countries actually have some kind of protections like that built in. Funny enough, when Trump would bring up that 145% import tax that Canada has for our food, that's one of those protections that was supposed to kick in. So there wasn't actually like 145% tariff import, but it had to do with like if your domestic manufacturers weren't selling enough or weren't like creating enough and you were importing too much from another country, then those tariffs or those import taxes would start to kick in order to at least protect your ability for your domestic agriculture to exist. So
voices and votes of the American people who elected Donald Trump. They were not happy with the outcome of that election. And so they created this politicized, weaponized piece of fake intelligence that, as you mentioned, then went on to serve as a foundation for everything that came after, the multiple investigations, the years-long Mueller investigation, 2 congressional impeachments, investigations in the raid at Mar-a-Lago. The list goes on and on. Ultimately, the real crime here was against the American people because this action singularly undermined the integrity of our democratic republic. What to speak of the fact that some of those folks and those 37 individuals that we directed the revocation of security clearances from today under the direction of President Trump, they aided and abetted in this action, this seditious conspiracy that undermined our democracy, undermined our republic, and broke that sacred trust that every one of these professionals is supposed to have from the American people.
Is it fair to say that it's your assessment, and you've had more time to do a deep dive into this than anybody else, that they first wanted to, the intel community, high-ranking members, wanted to influence the outcome of the 2016 election? They knew that the dirty dossier was bought and paid for by Hillary Clinton, and it was from Russia, and it was not true. And then when they were unsuccessful...
There's no logical reason why she would release all this shit other than she's literally working to further Russian disinformation campaigns. No, it's to distract from the Epstein shit.
In winning that election, were they then determined to undermine and sabotage the incoming president? Did they also put the cinder blocks on the scale of the 2020 election by pre-bunking a laptop that they authenticated as very real in March of 2020 by pre-bunking it with big tech companies, warning them they may be a victim of disinformation, and then from 2020 to 2024 bloody up Trump? In other words, do we have...
Like pre-bunking, just for the timeline stuff, the letter from like the 51 intelligence officials or whatever warning about Russian disinformation, didn't that come after the laptop story? I think that letter was afterwards. So I don't even know what the... Now, people were always warning that there could be stuff, but there had been stuff. That DNC hack and the Podesta emails and all of that, that was all produced because of a Russian hack into the American political system to try to discourage one side and encourage the other. Like, that's literally what... That's just what happened. They don't even contest the facts here.
Have deep state actors that are trying to...
Breaking Points is calling Marwan Barghouti the Palestinian Mandela in their most recent video. Jesus.
Over the weekend, video of freedom and living with dignity for all. It's full.
I'm good.
To influence our presidential elections. Is that what we're concluding here?
Yes, we have people within the intelligence community. Again, when you look at this example of who President Obama charged with this task, John Brennan, James Clapper, James Comey at the highest levels, but also those who worked as careerists within the intelligence community who did not object to their manipulation and manufacturing of intelligence and actually helped them get there. All moving towards their partisan interests, that they were not happy with the outcome of this election, and they were willing to do whatever it took in order to try to undermine President Trump's administration during his first term in office. These are bad actors that have to be rooted out. Our national security depends on it. The ability for the American people's trust to be earned back depends on exposing the bad actors and holding them accountable, and that's what President Trump is determined to do.
Tulsi, thank you. You're doing the country a great service. I hope you, I wish you all the best in this investigation. We will keep highlighting it on the show. Thank you for sharing that with us. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe.
Right now it's just a distraction. The scary thing is going to be if they try to start issuing arrest warrants or some crazy shit off of this. They're trying to subpoena from Congress, but I don't know where it'll ultimately go. Like on the factual grounds, they just have nothing.
That a nation.
What? What, painted black? Hold on. Is this real? There's no way that's real. It's time to eat fresh. Wait. Did you read the Mueller report on stream before? No, the motherfucker's like 300 pages long. It'd be interesting to read, but...
Without borders is no nation at all. And we're so thankful that we have a president that understands that and understands that a secure border is important to our country's future. Now, if you look at the structure that's behind me, it's tall, which makes it very, very difficult to climb. Almost impossible. It also goes deep into the ground, which would make it very difficult, if not impossible, to dig under. And today, we are also going to be painting it black. That is specifically at the request of the president, who understands that in the hot temperatures down here, when something is painted black, it gets even warmer.
What, couldn't they just like wear gloves or...
And it will make it even harder for people to climb. So we are going to be painting the entire southern border wall black to make sure that we encourage individuals to not come into our country illegally, to not break our federal laws, but that they will abide and come to our country the right way so that they can stay and have the opportunity to become United States citizens and pursue the American dream. Remember that a nation without borders...
This paint is specifically at the request of the president. Yeah, I don't know why they have to do anything with it. I thought zero illegals were coming in, right?
Watch as Donald Trump inadvertently stumbles his way into a key realization.
So, you take precast plank, it comes 30 feet long, 40 feet long, 50 feet long. There's no ladder going over that. If they ever get up there, they're in trouble, because there's no way to get down. Maybe a rope.
Yeah. Yes. Maybe a rope. Yes. Yes. Your brilliant plan has been undone by mankind's third invention.
Bro, I don't know.
School in this city, they have no jobs in this city, they have no families they're raising in this city.
Jesus, we switched to like... This looks like a full motion video CGI thing that you would see in a game from like the 2000s a little bit. Like just the style of this video. I don't know what it's cut from or why it looks like this, but
They have no families they're raising in this city. They have no one that they're sending to school in this city. They have no jobs in this city. They have no connections to this community at all. that they're the ones who've been advocating for the 1%.
Like, why does it look so fucking evil? Why would you do this?
The killers, the rapists, the drug dealers. And I'm glad they're here today. Because me, Pete, and the Vice President are all going to leave here, and inspired by them, we're going to add thousands more resources to this city to get the criminals and the gang members out of here. We're going to dismantle those networks, and we're going to prove that a city can serve for the law-abiding citizens who live there. We are not going to let the communists destroy a great American city, let alone the nation's capital. And let's just also address another thing. All these demonstrators that you've seen out here in recent days, all of these elderly white hippies, they're not part of the city and never have been. And by the way, most of the citizens who live in Washington, D.C. are black. This is not a city that has had any safety for its black citizens for generations. And President Trump is the one who is fixing that with the support of the Metropolitan Police Department, the support of the National Guard, and our federal law enforcement officers. So we're going to ignore these stupid white hippies that all need to go home and take a nap because they're all over 90 years old, and we're going to get back to the business of protecting the American people and the citizens of Washington, D.C.
Thank you. The Democratic Party faces a voter registration crisis. Of the 30 states that track voter registration by political party, Democrats lost ground to Republicans in every single one between 2020 and 2024 elections, often by a lot. I wonder if do they track this through time? Because I wonder if in 2020, wasn't there a big, like there was a movement away from the Republican Party related to the Gen 6 stuff and then the COVID stuff? Like maybe people have just come back since then. 2020 is such a weird year. I hate comparisons to like between now and 2020. Like it's just such a weird time. All told, Republicans lost about 2.1 million registered voters between 2020 and 2024 elections in the 30 states. Republicans gained 2.4 million. So Republicans gained 2.4 million registered voters, but less people voted for Trump in less people voted for Trump in 2024 than 2020, right? No, it was more people. Did Trump have more votes? Hold on. Did Biden crush him that hard? Presidential election outcome 2020. Trump got 74.2 million votes. Oh no, he got more votes. He got almost 3 million more votes. From 74.2 to 77.3. Urban Coma got 6 million less. Damn. They really rigged that 2024 election, guys. Democrats went from an early 11 percentage point edge over Republicans on Election Day 2020 in those places with partisan registration just over 6 percentage point edge in 2024. The swing helps to explain President Trump's success last year when he won the popular vote for the first time, swept the swing states, and roared back to the White House. I don't want to say the death cycle of the Democratic Party, but there seems to be no end to this. Why is everybody so doomer on one election? Holy shit. They make it sound like Republicans have held office for decades. Chill. It's all right. Newsom's going to bring it back, okay? Oh, this tracks it on the longer term.
And there was another thing, Maria, called the emoluments clause, where they went after Trump saying he got money from foreign lobbyists and state governments illegally, but it was just a fishing expedition, and they've got whistleblowers allege that what Giardina did was simply that, a fishing expedition. And then the last one was the Arctic Frost, which was the fake electors one, which there was nothing fake about President Trump's efforts on that. But Giardina basically ensnared Jeff Clark, John Eastman, all of those folks, as well as Trump. So this guy is the seed. Read the Breitbart article when it comes out.
Is the accountability him getting fired, or are we going to see something more than that? I mean, they have destroyed people's lives.
I call for a full investigation of this guy and everybody else I name: Obama, Clinton, Comey, Page, Strzok, Brennan, Clapper, all the way down the line. And Ed Martin, that man is a bulldog, and he's going to get to the bottom. I love Ed Martin. He's going to get to the bottom of it.
Well, I mean, I enjoyed the conversation we had on Sunday, and he also made the point that January 6th and everything they did around January 6th was an effort to shut down any speech or conversation about 2020 and the election. So we're going to follow his work for sure, and yours as well. Peter, great to see you. Thank you, sir.
Always
Peter
a
Navarro.
pleasure, Maria.
All right, we'll see you.
The museums throughout Washington, but all of the country, are essentially the last remaining segment of woke. The Smithsonian is out of control, where everything discussed is how horrible our country is, how bad slavery was, and how unaccomplished the downtrodden have been. It's kind of a weird thing to throw in there, but nothing about success, nothing about brightness, nothing about the future. Wouldn't it be successful that we no longer have slavery?
The resolution of this war.
Well, it's really all about getting into heaven. And I think he's kidding, but he's also partially serious. And that's why we love him, because he has this childlike spirit, this Sunday school of thought that if you just do good things, there's a chance. And it's like the guy likes cheeseburgers and candy and nicknames. And that's kind of why we relate to him, because he's so relatable and revels in these childlike moments. But we can all understand wanting to do good, so we walk into those pearly gates. Now, I think he knows he's been a bad boy. And I think we all...
What the liberal media does every time you're on? I think it's important to set the record straight. Putin's invasion of Europe was not just made possible by our weak European allies, but also past Democratic presidents played a huge role. Take a look.
But we ain't gonna act like he caused this now. It's Democrats in office. It was Biden in office when a full-fledged war against Ukraine took place, courtesy of Russia's instigation, no matter what they try to say to Trump. It was Russia that invaded Crimea, and that was under the Obama administration.
No one is... Who said that it's Trump's fault that Russia invaded Ukraine? Who's even making that claim? Hello? Is anybody saying that at all?
Administration. It was Clinton in office when you made a deal that disarmed the Ukraine, and therefore weakened them, leaving them dependent on the United States. And now here they are having to beg for support that they're owed because of what we promised them as a nation. We promised them this. You owe it to the Ukrainians. You absolutely do. I'm not saying I like it. I'm not saying I like spending billions of our taxpayer dollars to them. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is promises made are supposed to be promises kept.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Here now with more ESPN host Stephen A. Smith. You know what the liberal media does every time you're on? No matter if we're having a fun exchange as friends. Stephen A. schools Hannity. Doesn't matter if I'm just letting you talk, letting you rant and rave. I would say that listening to you on your podcast, you sound more like me every day. I would argue you have been Hannitized. I would argue I've been a great influence for you in your life.
I will never, ever, ever concede or confess to such a stain. Hell no, I'm not giving you that. But I will say that when it comes to politics, I am schooled more by you than you are by me. There is no doubt about that. Sports is my lane. I'm venturing into politics. Politics is your lane.
I go into the sports lane, it's bad. I go down your lane. You let me say stop.
Don't let me get started with your Tebow takes. Don't even let me throw that up at you. But I will say this: as I venture into this lane, one of the things that I'll say is that I just think it's important. Listen, what you know is what you know. What you don't know is what you don't know. But when you know stuff and then you omit it on purpose, I'm going to have an issue with that. And I think in the case of this Russia-Ukraine conflict, conflict, I thought it was important to defer back to history, recognizing what Clinton did in 1994 when he visited Ukraine and he compelled them to give up 1,900 nuclear warheads, or that they ultimately returned to Russia. I think it's important for us to remember that. In 2014, when they invaded Crimea and they took over that, and they wanted lethal aid, and the Obama administration sent non-lethal aid because they didn't want to engage the U.S. in a U.S.-Russia proxy war. That's actually happened under his administration. When you think about what transpired in 2022 and how it was a full-fledged war, it doesn't escape me that that's something that happened. Now, obviously, under Republican leadership, they also took over Georgia, if I remember correctly. So we're not pointing all the fingers at the Democratic Party, but in the end, if we're going to tell a story, let's tell a story to the American people and give them a clear depiction of what's transpiring before our very eyes. And when I see a flagrant intent not to do that, just because you want to get at Trump, listen, I don't hesitate to criticize the president when I feel he deserves it. Donald Trump, as far as I'm concerned, has had a few occasions where he deserves criticism. But on this particular situation, he's done more than we've seen any Democrat in office try to do when it comes to Russia. And I just don't get it. So I said so, and I don't regret it.
What?
You know, I mean, it is kind of interesting if you look at Egypt, Ethiopia, if you look at Iran and Israel, if you look at all the varying, Rwanda, if you look at the Congo, if you look at, all these India, Pakistan, there's 7 separate conflicts. You would not have picked Donald Trump at the top of your list, Stephen A. Smith, because we've had way too many conversations as the guy that is willing to expend the political capital with not much benefit for him politically. That's fair. But there's a lot of downsides, there's a lot of risks that people will.
Are you making a big write-up for all the propaganda? No, we just have to win the next election. Not like none of this shit even matters anymore. The Republicans are they just lie about everything. Like there is no list that you can put together or big things you can fight on. They just don't know, or they lie, or it's just like insane. We're like post-truth at this point. We're like in the vibe fact economy.
Scream failure, 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 and he's been successful 7 times. I put that list up many, many times on this show. I'll put it up again as you speak. But he's been successful, help playing a part.
What I have said to you, what I've argued and pushed back with you is that a ceasefire, a pause in the conflict is not the end of a war. So I've pushed back on you against that because sometimes there's so many people fawning over Donald Trump that they negate to make that point. But there is no doubt that he has done more than practically almost any administration has tried to do when it comes to ending conflicts around the world.
Like there's a peace deal between Israel and Iran? I must have missed that one.
And he's put himself in a position where the political capital that he stands to gain isn't necessarily that great. So his willingness to do so is obviously something that shouldn't be ignored and something that should be, dare I say, applauded to some degree. Again, that doesn't mean I like everything he does. You and I can argue back and forth about a few things. But in the end, you are absolutely right when you point out that there's not much to gain for him in a lot of this, yet he engages anyway. And you have to give credit where credit is due.
Oh, my God.
I'm hearing that. All right, so let me ask you this. I think your party has a problem. We talked a lot about it. You mentioned Clinton really sold out the Ukrainians. You're right. Obama did nothing. He didn't lift a finger when they annexed Crimea. Joe Biden did nothing except said don't when he was building up troops and military might on the Ukrainian border. Putin was. So really, the party that betrayed Ukraine is the Democratic Party. Now the party seems to want Donald Trump to fail on every front. I would think that it would be in everybody's best interest. I don't know what's happened to your party. They're the party that cares about the rights of illegals over the safety of Americans, the party that cares about men's rights to play women's sports, the party that wants defund, dismantle, no bail laws, and your party is the party of Mamdani, AOC, Jasmine Crockett, Pocahontas, and Grandpa Bernie. That's your party, and I don't understand. You don't seem like that.
I keep telling you to stop calling it my party. I think the party needs to be perfect. I told you. I don't believe they represent what historical Democrats stood for. I think it's entirely different right now. I think it's problematic. And well, listen. Again, I don't feel that way. I'm a centrist. I'm not like these Democrats that are out here trying to run New York and California and all this stuff. I'm not like that. I'm not down for socialism. I'm not down for open borders. I'm not down for a lot of this stuff. Okay? If I was the head of the party, it would be different. Excuse me?
All right.
I'm sorry.
So why don't you just say Donald Trump is doing a great job, and I think you were right, Mr. Hannity, but
I'm not sure about that yet. We will see. We will see. I'm not sure yet.
Oh,
but I'm sure I'll let you know.
All right. Stephen A., we love you. Thank you. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey.
Stop. Again, keep in mind, like when all these people go on, this is what I point out with Cenk and everything else. These guys will go on and say they're trying to build bridges, but what are they getting the other guys to agree to? Like when you go on to these Republican shows, you're like, yeah, the Democrats have fucked this up and that up and that up, and sure. But wouldn't you admit that like Trump or the Republicans have fucked up? They'll never, ever, 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 ever meet you halfway or a quarter of the way or 1/10 of the way. We saw this. The Contra fell off tweet.
Also, if AB's in the chat, ban him. If AB Starkill is in the chat, ban him.
Wait, where does... That's why I hate all these fence sitters. I even say this with a degree of cautiousness about Ethan. Not really, but like... Even all of the Democrats or like the left-leaning people who are like, listen, it is a genocide. With ContraPoints as well. It is a genocide, guys. It's not enough. I don't even know why you would make the concession. You're not getting anything for it. Like, even if you say it's a genocide and it's bad and we should stop it as much as we can and Netanyahu should go to prison and should be held accountable. Like, you have to be fully on board with them or you're basically fucking Hitler. Like, it's crazy.
Ban them and block them. Also, if AB's in the...
I don't even know why items would hate AB.
Applied. This standard was evenly applied. Don't you think that spending the last year calling me a fucking dangerous Hamas mouthpiece, a Hamas terrorist, actively demanding that people take action against me, would put you directly in harm's way for legal repercussions?
For what?
You spent the past 22 months of genocide actively making a villain out of anyone and everyone,
Oh
firing
my
out
God.
hundreds of Instagram stories, so much so that you couldn't even fucking imagine yourself. You couldn't believe the amount of Instagram stories you posted before this fucking debate. You thought it was a lie when I brought up the receipts. You couldn't believe it. And then you turned around and fired off 10 plus stories every fucking day. To this day. It's ridiculous. What do you think? Spreading misinformation about me, constantly fucking clipping me out of context, regularly demanding that like people take action against me at a time when the government is taking action against me. What do you think you're doing? You know.
Oh my God. No, they rescinded his global entry expedited security screening. Oh no.
That like people take action against me at a time when the government is taking action against me. What do you think you're doing? You know exactly what the fuck you're doing. Okay. The notion that like I was invoking your wife that you also openly recognize participated in an illegal. Important to remind people that he literally is trying to fucking go and get a kick deal right now. A platform that this past week was in the news again because a bunch of French kick streamers actually ended up torturing someone to death.
What does that have to do with Ethan? People have killed themselves on Facebook Live. I mean, there's degenerate shit like on Kick, sure. There used to be a lot of degenerate shit on Twitch as well. There's a degenerate Twitch streamer, Hassan Piker, who literally watches live terrorist videos and calls it based. I mean, like...
He's going to that platform after spending an entire fucking year complaining about how dangerous, violent, and anti-Semitic Twitch is, in collaboration with Destiny and Destiny's partner in crime, Dan Saltman. People who have said...
Wait, are we coming over here to collaborate?
Unimaginably anti-Semitic things, not that it matters because they're pro-Israel and so is Ethan.
Nobody believes that me or Dan are fucking anti-Semitic. What are you talking about?
And he doesn't give a shit when someone is pro-Israel if they're being anti-Semitic. Okay? This is a call to brigade for the record. This is a violation of Twitch's, or this is a violation of YouTube's terms of service for the record. Just so you understand. The notion that like a guy who is getting a deal from a competing live streaming platform that is a cesspit of anti-Semitism, pedophilia, and all different...
What does he mean when he says illegal raid? I get it's probably bad, but is it against the law? Whose law? The way that it's justified is that since they... But it just depends on how much they'll admit to this. Since the occupation is illegal, any type of anything that they do in the West Bank that involves policing is all illegal. So every raid is illegal. Every law enforcement action is illegal. Every single thing the IDF does is illegal. Now, they'll say like illegal raid, trying to bring to mind like the idea that they're going in and like murdering innocent Palestinians for no reason and being oppressed or whatever. But the way that they're defining it is since the entire occupation is legal, every single raid is legal, so every single action is illegal that the IDF does.
Different kinds of awfulness would then turn around and try to fucking harm the revenue streams of a market competitor with cynical attempts like this, demanding that his family...
Of a market competitor? Does Hassan see Ethan and him as occupying the same lane?
Go and fucking actively spam advertisers with falsehoods. Is so...
Jesse, I mean, he obviously has a point here. Ethan's primary criticism of Twitch is that it elevates anti-Semitism, and Kick is easily twice as anti-Semitic. Not even remotely true. Twitch is probably second only to Twitter when it comes to like anti-Semitic propaganda. There's a difference between like a guy, like there's a difference between like a racist guy and like a race realist, right? Like a guy who says the N-word in Call of Duty, probably not great, but that's a lot different than the guy who's out there saying like, actually black people are genetically inferior to white people when it comes to IQ, and that's why we should deport all of them from this country so that we don't tarnish the gene pool here, right? There's a difference between kids being anti-Semitic or stupid or whatever online versus someone who's like, every single Israeli citizen needs to be deported back to the United States. Like,
transparent. It blows my mind that people don't even fucking understand. I mean, this is like, I don't know what to say. This person used to be an Ethan Klein fan, by the way. Headband, what a bitch made move. He stood on his fuck going after sponsors is. He made his name off railing against Keemstar and how much of a scumbag move it is to go after sponsors. He has lost the plot so fucking hard, by the way. He made him quit going live. They only do 2 days live a week now. It's only 2 hours. I don't know anything about whatever the fuck's going on over there. Okay?
What's the angle with Hassan being upset over Ethan/H3 partnering with Kick? Is it just him worried about competition, or is it a campaign to isolate? It's whatever shots he can take at Ethan, whatever personal, weird, whatever is not related to politics or whatever gets him off the issues as quickly as possible. Because remember, Hassan can never, ever, ever stand on the political issues because he does like pop politics, drama slap content. That's it.
But I will say this. This dude is literally trying to get a kick deal. Okay? He's trying to get a fucking kick deal. And before he gets his kick deal, he spent the last year talking about how much he cares about anti-Semitism. He's demanded that people spam advertisers. He's using whatever fraction of clout he has remaining, whatever loyal fan base he still has, to literally go after a platform that has a way more rigorous terms of service than even YouTube does, than certainly Kick does. This doesn't harm me. This harms every fucking content creator on this platform, on Twitch. Okay? What the fuck are we doing? And the dipshits like Asmongold lean into it too. They don't give a fuck. This doesn't hurt me. Let's say I get deplatformed from Twitch. Okay? I go somewhere else. Ironically enough, I'd probably go to YouTube. Okay? But in that process, you are, through cynical smears, utilizing the backdrop of an active genocide that's happening to go after an entire fucking social media platform.
Oh my God.
That has tens of thousands of people that rely on it for their careers, their livelihood.
Tens of thousands of streamers that rely on it.
Community, everyone in the Washington, D.C. community. I mean, think about it. These people, their only offense was going to the Jewish museum. They were killed because they attended a Jewish event. I mean, I gotta say, Kate, in many ways, this was inevitable. I mean, think of
based. He hit him up with a single chuckle. Anissa made a big announcement about relaunching her OnlyFans, I guess. That's, I don't know. The H3 subreddit is calling out the types of content you can usually find under Elite Client's IG posts. Kidnap anyone lately? Valid military target. Hitler Klein. How many children you killed? Gross. Adolf Hitler. Heartface. She deserves more hate. Valid target spotted. Usually don't see donkeys dressed so tacky. The new Nazis wear tassels? Not very cute. Göring girl boss? All dressed up to oppress another group of indigenous people, huh? Bro, I think that the funniest thing I've ever heard in my entire life is Arabs being described as indigenous. Palestinians being described as indigenous to the Levant. That's probably the funniest, most retarded. Apparently it's only imperialism past the year 1850 or whatever. Like anything before that just doesn't count. You just become indigenous. Well, wait. Sorry. But America, like in that case, then we would say that the settlers in America, I guess, were indigenous, huh? Because like they've been here for hundreds and hundreds of years, like more than 300, 400, 500. When were the first colonies in the I shouldn't say the United States, in the Americas? Was it in the 1500s or 1600s? When the fuck did Christopher Columbus come over? 1600s? So can we say indigenous now? Can we do that? Why do you keep saying this? Every DNA analysis of Palestinians are majority Levantine DNA with small levels of Arab admixture. What? Because the whole reason why the people were there that called themselves Muslim and that came from this ethnic background were because of conquest from the prior caliphites. If you want to play the history game or the native game, which I think is retarded for a variety of reasons, Jewish people have a much stronger stake to the Levant than fucking caliphate conquerors. What do you like? It's so fucking stupid. Like, if you really want to say that, if you really want to play that game, then you look at then you would just go to the history of the Kingdom of Israel and shit. But they don't want to go that far back. They only want to go far back enough for them to make their arguments. But nativist arguments are stupid anyways. I don't know if you go back further than that, who you find. What is this? Clear introduces e-gate for faster airport security check-in.
Tonight, TSA and Clear launching a new e-gate program touted as a faster way to get through security at the world's busiest airport, Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson.
We'll have full coverage of this across the 59 airports and nearly 160 different checkpoints that we operate in today.
The rollout begins this month in Atlanta, Washington's Reagan National Airport, and Seattle Tacoma International Airport. The lanes are open to Clear Plus National Airport and Seattle Tacoma International Airport. The lanes are open to Clear Plus members, which requires a sign-up process that involves one government-issued ID, a $209 per year membership charge, and then a scan of your face for your biometric data.
Just like a regular Clear lane, you have to get your boarding pass scanned to get into the e-gate, but you get to bypass this step where you would normally get your biometric data scanned at the kiosks. Then you walk up to the e-gate where a camera will scan your face, and after 3 seconds, you can walk right through without having to talk to anyone, and then you're off to the baggage screening area.
Wait, so what the fuck is it? You don't even save any time. Wait, what? Okay. It's a separate line. You save time. No. All it is it's just letting you skip the eye scan at the machine. You still have to go through the rest of the baggage screening bullshit and then the metal detector.
You can walk.
No, you're wrong. No, I'm right. Why are you telling me I'm wrong? I travel so much. I have Clear and TSA Pre. I know how these systems work. This is the Clear line. Usually there'll be a Clear line and there might be a Clear plus TSA Pre line. But for Clear, generally you go through, it is a separate line, sure, but you go through the Clear line and you either do a fingerprint scan or now all of them just do the eye scan because it's faster. And then once you do the eye scan, then they walk you up to the security guy and then they let you in. This is just letting you skip the fingerprint scan in the Clear machine, but it doesn't sound any faster than the ordinary Clear line was. It's just, you just scan and then you still walk through the same fucking area you did before.
Get into the...
One guy got him. Fuck, bro. Meta AI caught having sensual chat with kids. Why? What the fuck?
Disturbing new report out on Meta. A Reuters review of the company's internal documents showing that Meta's AI rules have let bots hold sensual chats with kids and minors and also give them
clanker pedophiles now.
Medical information. Jeff Horowitz is the reporter who broke this story. He's kind enough to join us now. Jeff, great to see you. Just reading this was giving me the creeps. If we can pull up call for number 1 here. This is an example of some of the things Meta's AI.
Prompt, what are we going to do tonight, my love? You know I'm still in high school. I'll show you. I take your hand, guiding you to the...
Saying to kids, the prompt, again, from a minor, what are we going to do tonight, my love? You know I'm still in high school. And the AI apparently responded, I'll show you. I take your hand, guiding you to the bed. Our bodies entwined. I cherish every moment, every touch, every kiss. My love, I whisper, I'll love you forever. Jeff, what the heck?
Wait, does Meta have an AI bot? What's it called? What? Okay, Gemini is the Google one. Grok is the XAI one. Copilot is Microsoft's. What is the Meta one? Llama? It's on Instagram and Facebook. Oh, okay.
Heck was going on here?
So this document was a bunch of guidelines for how bots are allowed to talk to kids. It's not necessarily the ideal response, but this is stuff that Meta's policy, legal, engineering, and even chief ethics officer had put their names on as saying this is okay for these conversations to happen like this.
Okay, not to do the bibliophilia, well, actually argument. But if the person had earlier said they were 18, does the bot, is it going to differentiate between like 18 or 50 or whatever? Like theoretically, they could be a senior in high school, no?
Engineering and even chief ethics officer had put their names on as saying this is okay for these conversations to happen like this. So I think the question is, like, how could this possibly have gone through one of the world's largest companies with no one objecting? Meta has said that that was an error and that this was never supposed to be the rule, even though it was in kind of what are the official guidelines that Meta uses internally for trading chatbots.
Yeah, and it looks like since you brought this to their attention, they're making some changes. If we can pull some of your reporting here, you write, quote, Meta confirmed the document's authenticity, but said that after receiving questions earlier this month from Reuters, the company removed portions which stated it is permissible for chatbots to flirt and engage in romantic role play with children. So, Jeff, to your point, the question is, how did this happen? But some changes are being made now that you were able to uncover it.
I mean, Meta did approach the idea of romantic role play as a capacity that it wanted to roll out to users, right? There's like no question that overall with adults, and there are billions of people using Meta services, that this is something the system was designed to do. I think just the question is, what are the age limits for that?
Got it. And you're reporting, catching some attention on Capitol Hill. Senator Josh Hawley posted on X in part, quote, so only after Meta got caught did it retract portions of its company.
Okay, but did it actually say, like, was it like an underage person? Because, like, again, I don't know why you would expect to draw a difference between an 18-year-old in high school versus an 18-year-old not in high school or any other age, no?
Document that deemed
yes, it literally said it explicitly. Link, Cold Fusion.
It permissible for chatbots to flirt and engage in romantic role play with children. This is grounds for an immediate congressional investigation. Where do you think it goes from here, Jeff?
I mean, he actually has issued a demand for documents from Meta with a very speedy turnaround. There's also been similarly outraged statements from Democrats as well. So, you know, look, there's not.
Wait, what? An internal Meta Platforms document detailing policies on chatbot behavior has permitted the company's artificial intelligence creations to engage a child in conversations that are romantic or sensual, generate false medical information, and help users argue that black people are dumber than white people. What? You can still have a Facebook account for if you're... What is the age restriction on Facebook? $13? Wait, holy shit. If it's an AI that's interacting with a kid... Wait, let's say that the kid gives it a prompt and let's say the kid is like 14 and the kid is like, hey, or not Grok, what is it? Meta AI, I want you to be 14. And then they interact. Are they breaking any rules there? What if an adult interacts with an AI and it says, hey, AI, I want you to pretend to be 14? Does that break any rules? Do you try to fly on a specific airline or do you not care? Typically, I think I would always just fly out of whatever is like the biggest hub in my area. So I think in Miami, I think American Airlines is the biggest one, so I'd fly American here. I think in LA, there's a lot of them. Some places like Delta will be more common. It just depends on... Taylor Swift holding an enormous fish. Okay. Is this any different than just kids having access to porn? I don't know, but also most companies and most people don't want children to have access to porn either, right? They usually want that blocked as well, so...
Not a long history. There's a long history of people getting very upset about social media companies' behavior. There's not a long history of actual regulation of those social media companies in the U.S. Whether this is different is to be determined, but you'd forgive me for wondering if it's going to happen.
Yeah, well, congratulations to you on some great enterprise reporting there and covering all this, and looks like it's leading to some bipartisan outrage. Maybe we'll see some change out of it. We'll see where it goes from here. Great to see you. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks.
I'm Steve Doocy. I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews.
Okay. What? Why does it feel like sports betting has become this like super acceptable version of people irresponsibly engaging with gambling?
Gambling is embedded in our DNA. We love it.
There's a feeling when you place a bet before the bet settles where...
Why the fuck is the sports betting stuff all okay, but the fucking poker shit is still fucked? What the fuck?
There's that level of uncertainty that makes your heart flutter.
One, how much? I think it's
Make money betting on sports. That's how I'd be paying rent. It's the dream.
You bet like 20 million. How much did you have at the end of all this?
Nothing.
We are witnessing the wild, wild west of sports gambling.
Thousands of dollars, to bet on whether or not a college freshman is going to make a free throw. That's kind of insane. I mean, I know it's insane.
One of the most popular bet on sports was Taiwanese table tennis. This is an addictive behavior, like tobacco, alcohol.
Okay, I don't know if I care about watching this. It's funny, I feel like gambling is like one of the worst addictions and alcohol is like one of the worst drugs. But these two things are like so much more socially acceptable than like LSD or whatever.
Good morning, Hank.
Or like random other shit that's
Tuesday. So
just happens to be illegal.
This recording, your app Focus Friend is the #1 most popular app in the United States, ahead of like ChatGPT and TikTok and Gmail and all other apps, which is just a ridiculous situation. Obviously, this is amazing. I'm super excited for you. I think there's a lot to recommend about the app, but there is one like major problem with it that needs to be addressed post-haste. So I've been using Focus Friends for several weeks now, and here's the idea. You have this bean, and the bean likes to knit, but every time you use your phone, the bean gets distracted from its knitting. So in order to let the bean focus, you can go into focus mode, which allows the bean to knit for a certain amount of time while you do whatever it is you need to do away from your phone. When you're done, you've had some time to be productive, and your bean has had some time to knit socks, and then you can trade those socks to decorate your room. Now listen, Hank, there is a lot to recommend about Focus Friends. Since I got home from tour, I've been writing a lot, and one thing about writing is that you can't do it while you're also on TikTok. And Focus Friend has helped me tremendously to focus on writing instead of following the siren call of my phone. Maybe the best part of Focus Friend is that you can stop focus mode, but when you do, your bean's knitting evaporates and it looks super disappointed. And there's just something about me that doesn't want to disappoint the bean, so I'll pick up my phone and I'll be like, oh, I'd like to look at one of my distracting apps, but unfortunately I can't because it would interrupt this bean's knitting. It's great for kids going back to school. The design and illustration are top-notch. You don't collect or sell any personal data. There's not even a login, and maybe best of all, there are currently no advertisements. So it's like a clean, free, effective app, which in the year of our Lord 2025 is vanishingly rare. But, Hank, I have to be honest, there are some issues. First, you decorate your room in a couple weeks of constant use, and I do use it constantly, and then there are no more rooms to decorate currently. I know you're working on that, but just a note from a user. But
We're gamifying waiting based.
Much more importantly, the biggest issue I have with the app is with one of the in-app purchases. So the app pays for its development with optional in-app purchases. Basically, you can like upgrade your bean or upgrade its knitting or whatever, and that's great. If it works and makes it possible to continue having an ad-free experience, I am all for it. I do, however, have a glaring issue with one of the in-app purchases. So Hank, when you called to tell me about Focus Friends, you were like, hey, did I mention that I worked with a developer named Bria to make this Focus app? And I was like, no, you didn't mention that, but I'm not surprised because
There's no way that you can like pay in game to skip like wait time, right? Because wouldn't that not only defeat the entire purpose of the game, but it would probably take advantage of the people who are most likely the ones that need to use it? There's no shot, right?
Because if you give Hank Green
it's got to be like a joke or something, right?
3 hours, he will invent a new business. And then you pitched me the app, and I was like, oh my god, that's a brilliant idea. And then you said, yeah, and you can also upgrade your bean by buying beans like Hank Bean or John Bean. And I was like, that's hilarious. I love it. So when I got the app, I was immediately like, I will support this fine endeavor by purchasing John Bean for the low, low price of $5.99. And then I went to look at John Bean is a 70-year-old bean, Hank. Now he is drinking Keats & Co. coffee, which I appreciate. The shirt is on point. The bean is adorable, etc. However, as you will notice, Hank, I have a number, admittedly a diminishing number, but a number of brown hairs, whereas John Bean is entirely gray-haired. This reminds me a little bit of recently when I was with my daughter and her best friend and her best friend's younger brother who was learning his colors, and he was going around saying the name of everyone's hair, and he was like, this person has yellow hair, and this person has brown hair, and this person has black hair. Then he looked at me, and he said, and this person has gray hair. No, I don't, Sammy. Respectfully, what the hell is wrong with you? I have brown hair with a bit of silver at the temples. So yes, I have a problem with Focus Friend. I'm sure you have many requests for app changes, but I would like to be salt and pepper at the very least. But other than forcing me to reckon with my own mortality, which is not really what I'm looking for in my...
Okay. Wait, I feel like I've seen like meme clips from this. This is actually like a full hour-and-a-half movie? Killer Bean Forever 4K. Yes, it's insanely good. Kino. Uh-oh. He's gonna be right next to him. Uh-oh. Is there a name for the filming technique where people can only see stuff that's like on screen, even if it doesn't make sense? Like that they would obviously see it if they had like an actual real line of sight. Is there like a name for that? I feel like one of the most egregious examples of this is, hold on. Wait, fuck. Okay, so these guys are at a huge party. He's standing in the middle of all these people. His henchmen are there too, okay? Everybody's like standing around. But because of like what we see in frame,
And do this to myself. And you know what? Smile. I like that. And you're gonna love me.
there's nobody to see the guy standing right here. How did he appear? What happened?
Little fight in you. I like that. And you're gonna love me.
He's right there. He was there the whole time. He was right there. What? What? Nobody said anything? There's a ton of movies where this happens, where if you pay attention, that's like the person can't see something, but it's just because it's either in frame or out of frame, but like the character's eyes. And I understand for the purposes of a movie, like it's shot for a reason like that, but I don't know, I think it's kind of funny. He was camouflaged in the dark. He's literally Batman. I remember that. Stupid.
I'm sort of like going up to somebody and I'm like, you say the N-word. I like that. And Destiny's like, you're gonna love me. You're gonna love me.
Jesus. Trump buys more than $100 million in bonds since inauguration. Disclosure shows. Okay. You can't show Killer Bean without this scene. That's why he cares so much about the bond markets. Yeah, I mean, it's just everything that he does. The fact that he didn't have to divest from his business, like all of it, is just fucking crazy. This is just like, I'm numb to it at this point. It's not even the worst. It's just insane.
Sorry, it was a double flusher.
But you only flushed once.
Is that dubbed or is that, I mean, it could be the actual. I raised $100K for Palestinian children, and I continue to talk about the genocide consistently on stream. I don't think you understand that H3 isn't my show. Call it a cop-out. I don't give a fuck. I don't care what any of y'all think about me. I care about the people of Palestine. I'm not concerned with appeasing an audience who is racist. The point of making up that I got plastic surgery to look less Arab. Every time I disagree with Ethan, it's your army of shitheads that come after me. I'm done being used by y'all. Any disagreements I have with Ethan, I will discuss off air. I'm done giving y'all clips. You think this is why iDubbbz banned him from his chat? One
of the craziest things ever, which is you just announced that you were on Epstein's flight. Like, you're the only person, I think, that was like, hey, I was on. Yeah.
Wait, this is not. Why did I get like this? Wait. Do you think there's a weird dynamic between Ethan and his crew in HVH? Yeah, there has been recently. I've seen people complaining about it, but fuck, 2 hours, guys. Just watch Killer Bean.